My beloved child, come close to me now. Let the weight of this day slowly lift from your shoulders as you settle into this sacred moment we share together. I am here with you, as I have always been, waiting patiently for you to find your way back to my embrace. The world has been heavy on your heart, hasn't it? The endless worries that circle your mind like restless birds, the anxieties that steal your peace, the sleepless nights when rest seems like a distant memory. I see it all, my dear one. I feel every burden you carry, every tear you've shed in the darkness, every prayer whispered into the silence of your room. Tonight is different. Tonight, you don't have to carry those burdens alone. As you listen to my voice, allow your breathing to slow, your muscles to relax, your spirit to find the rest it desperately seeks. This is our time together, just you and me, in the quiet sanctuary of your heart. I want to tell you a story. Tonight, a story that will wrap around you like the softest blanket, like the gentle warmth of morning sunlight streaming through your window. It's a story of love that conquers fear, of light that drives away darkness, of peace that surpasses all understanding. It's our story, beloved, yours and mine. As I speak these words to you, imagine my presence filling the room where you rest. Feel the gentle touch of my hand upon your forehead, smoothing away the lines of worry that have gathered there. Let my love wash over you like cool water on a summer day, bringing relief to every ache in your body, every wound in your soul. You are precious to me beyond measure. Your struggles, your pain, your sleepless nights, none of it has gone unnoticed. I have been collecting every tear, holding every broken piece of your heart, waiting for this moment when I could speak directly to your spirit and offer you the gift of true rest. Tonight, we journey together through memories of love, through moments of profound peace, through the very heart of what it means to trust completely in my care. As we walk this path together, you'll find that your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing deepens, and a sense of perfect safety settles over you like a protective shield. Those who have found comfort in these words often discover that sharing this peace with others brings even greater joy. Sometimes, the simple act of letting others know that hope exists creates ripples of healing that touch countless hearts. But for now, let that thought rest gently in the background of your mind, like a seed planted in good soil. Close your eyes. Now, my beloved, let your body sink deeper into comfort. Feel every muscle releasing its tension, every worry dissolving into the infinite ocean of my love. Our journey begins now, in this sacred space where time stands still and peace reigns eternal. In the beginning, before the first star pierced the velvet darkness, before the first flower bloomed in meadows not yet dreamed, there was love. Not the fragile love that humans know, beautiful but breakable, but love that exists beyond time, beyond space, beyond the very concept of ending. This love was the foundation upon which all creation would rest, and you, my precious child, were born from its very essence. I remember the moment I first thought of you. Yes, you, not humanity in general, not some abstract concept of souls to be created, but you specifically, with your unique heart, your particular struggles, your singular beauty. It was in the garden of first light, where ideas take shape, before becoming reality, where love becomes tangible through the act of creation. Your essence sparkled before me like a diamond catching sunlight, multifaceted and brilliant. I saw all your days spread out like pages in a book, the joyful chapters and the difficult ones, the moments when you would feel closest to me and the times when you would struggle to sense my presence. I loved every single page of your story, even the ones that would cause you pain, because I knew that each experience would polish your soul to an even brighter shine. In that garden of first light, I walked among the possibilities, crafting not just your physical form, but the intricate network of your emotions, the delicate balance of your mind, the infinite capacity of your spirit. Every neuron in your brain, every beat of your heart, every breath your lungs would ever take, all of it designed with meticulous care and boundless love. I gave you the ability to feel deeply because I wanted you to experience the full spectrum of existence. Your capacity for joy mirrors my own delight in creation. Your ability to love reflects the very nature of who I am, even your struggles with sleep, your battles with anxiety, your moments of doubt. These too serve a purpose, for they create in you a longing for something greater, a reaching toward the divine that draws you ever closer to me. The garden was filled with the music of creation, not sounds as you know them, but harmonies that resonate in the deepest parts of reality. Each note represented a soul being lovingly crafted, and your note was particularly beautiful, a melody that blended perfectly with the cosmic symphony while maintaining its own unique voice. As I shaped your spirit, I built into it a homing device of sorts, an inner compass that would always point toward me, no matter how lost you might feel in the wilderness of earthly existence. This is why, even in your darkest moments, even when you can't sleep and worry consumes your thoughts, there remains within you an unshakable knowledge that you are not alone. I planted within your soul seeds of every virtue you would need: courage for the battles ahead, compassion for yourself and others, wisdom to discern truth from illusion, and hope that would sustain you through the longest nights. These seeds sometimes lie dormant, waiting for the right conditions to sprout and bloom, but they are always there, part of your divine DNA. The other souls being created in that garden would become your companions on the earthly journey. Some would be family, others friends. Some would be strangers whose lives would briefly intersect with yours in meaningful ways. I designed an intricate web of connections, ensuring that no soul would ever truly walk alone, that love would always find a way to reach every heart through the network of human relationships. But even with all these connections, I knew there would be times when you would feel isolated, when the weight of existence would press down upon you like a heavy blanket, stealing your peace and your sleep. For these moments, I embedded within creation itself 1,000 different ways for you to feel my presence, in the whisper of wind through trees, in the gentle rhythm of rain on your roof, in the soft breathing of a beloved pet curled beside. Your sleeplessness, my dear one, is not a failure on your part. It is your soul's way of creating space for our conversations, moments when the noise of the day falls away and you can hear my voice more clearly. In the quiet hours when others sleep, you and I can share the kind of intimate communion that daylight often makes difficult. As I put the finishing touches on your spiritual blueprint in that garden of first light, I whispered a promise into the very core of your being. You will never be alone. In your joy, I will celebrate with you. In your sorrow, I will comfort you. In your sleepless nights, I will be your peace. And when your earthly journey is complete, you will return to this garden, where we will walk together in the light that never fades. Breathe deeply now, beloved. Feel that promise settling into your heart like a gentle rain soaking into thirsty earth. As we continue our journey together, let your body grow heavier, more relaxed, supported by the love that created you before time began. The Sea of Galilee was restless that night, much like your heart has been during these sleepless hours. The Disciples had been rowing against the wind for what felt like hours, their muscles aching, their spirits growing weary. Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones where you feel like you're making no progress, despite all your effort, just like those nights when you lie in bed, trying so hard to sleep that the very effort keeps you awake. I had withdrawn to the mountainside earlier to pray, to commune with the Father in the solitude that such deep connection requires. But even in those sacred moments of prayer, part of my consciousness remained with my beloved disciples, feeling their struggle, their growing exhaustion, their confusion about why the journey had become so difficult. Around 3 a.m, that mystical hour when the veil between heaven and earth grows thin, when souls are most receptive to divine intervention, I felt the call to go to them. Not in an ordinary way, not by taking a boat or swimming to reach them, but by demonstrating a truth that would comfort countless hearts throughout the ages, the laws that seem to govern your world are not the ultimate reality. As I stepped onto the water, I thought of you, my beloved child, lying in your bed centuries later, feeling overwhelmed by the storms in your own life. The water supported me not because I am divine, though I am, but because love is the fundamental force that underlies all of creation. When we act from pure love, when we align ourselves completely with the Father's will, even the physical world responds by rearranging itself around that divine intention. Each step I took on those moonlit waves was a step toward everyone who would ever feel lost at sea in their own struggles. The water beneath my feet wasn't just supporting me, it was creating a bridge across time to every soul who would need to know that impossible things become possible when love is the driving force. Peter saw me first, his eyes wide with wonder and something between fear and recognition. "Lord, if that's really you," he called out over the wind, "let me walk on water too." Oh, how my heart swelled with love for his courage, his willingness to step into the impossible simply because he trusted in my presence. "Come," I said, and in that single word was contained every invitation I would ever extend to struggling souls. Come to me when you are weary. Come to me when you cannot sleep. Come to me when the storms of life seem too fierce to weather. Come, not because you are worthy, but because you are loved beyond measure. Peter stepped out of the boat, and for a few glorious moments, he too walked on water. His feet found solid support in what should have been only waves and wind. But then, and this is the part of the story that speaks most directly to your sleepless nights, he began to focus on the storm instead of my face, on the impossibility of his situation instead of the love that was making it possible. The moment his attention shifted from trust to fear, he began to sink. But here's what many people miss in this story. I was already reaching for him before he started to go under. My hand was extended toward him before he even cried out, "Lord, save me." Because that's how love works. It anticipates need. It arrives before the call for help is even uttered. As I pulled Peter up out of the water, I felt the weight of every person who would ever feel like they were drowning in their own struggles. I felt your sleepless nights, your anxiety, your moments of feeling overwhelmed by circumstances beyond your control. In lifting Peter, I was reaching across time to lift you too. When we climbed into the boat together, the wind immediately ceased. The storm that had seemed so overwhelming just moments before simply ... stopped. This is what happens when you truly invite me into your situation, not just as an observer, but as an active participant in your struggle. The storms don't always disappear immediately from your external circumstances, but they always calm in your heart when you remember that I am in the boat with you. The other disciples, who had been watching this entire scene unfold, fell to their knees in worship. They had witnessed something that changed their understanding of what was possible, not just for me, but for themselves. They realized that the limitations they had accepted as unchangeable were actually just starting points for miracles. This is what I want you to understand tonight, my dear one, as you struggle with sleep that seems to elude you like those elusive waves, your insomnia, your anxiety, your restless heart. These are not punishments or signs of weakness. They are invitations for you to step out of the boat of ordinary experience and walk with me on the waters of divine possibility. Every time you choose trust over worry, every time you focus on my love instead of your problems, you are taking steps on water. You might not see the miracle in the moment. Peter couldn't see his feet finding purchase on what should have been only waves, but the supernatural support is there nonetheless. The water that night reflected not just moonlight, but the light of divine love that is always available to support you when human strength fails. Your bed in these sleepless hours can become like that sea, a place where the impossible becomes possible, where rest comes not through your own effort, but through surrendering to the love that wants to carry you. Close your eyes now and imagine yourself in that boat with the disciples. Feel the wind calming as I climb in beside you. Feel the peace that comes not from the absence of storms, but from the presence of one who has authority over every storm. Let that peace begin to work its way through your body now, relaxing muscles that have been tense with worry, quieting thoughts that have been churning like turbulent waves. The sea grows calm, beloved. Your heart grows still. In this holy hush, sleep approaches on gentle feet, as natural and inevitable as dawn following night. Rest your body deeper into comfort now. Feel yourself supported not by effort, but by love itself. The storm in your mind is calming, just as that ancient sea grew still in my presence. There was a garden where I went when the weight of all human suffering pressed down upon my shoulders like stones. Gethsemane, it means oil press, a place where olives are crushed to yield their precious essence. How fitting that it would be in such a place that I would be pressed by sorrow until my very essence, my love for humanity, poured out in ways that would heal the world for all eternity. You know something about this kind of pressing, don't you? My beloved, those nights when sleep refuses to come, when your mind cycles through worries like a prayer wheel spinning in an endless wind, when your body aches with tension that seems to have no source and no relief, these are your Gethsemane moments. These are the times when life presses you so hard that you wonder if you have anything left to give. That night in the garden, as I knelt among the ancient olive trees with their gnarled trunks and silver-green leaves, I felt the full weight of every sleepless night that would ever torment one of my children. I experienced your tossing and turning, your racing thoughts, your desperate desire for rest that seems always just out of reach. Every anxiety attack, every moment of overwhelming worry that has ever stolen sleep from human eyes, I felt it all in that garden. The disciples I had brought with me for comfort, Peter, James, and John, could barely keep their eyes open. How ironic that in my moment of greatest need for companionship, they were overcome by the very gift I longed to give you now, peaceful, restorative sleep. But perhaps this too was part of the divine plan, for in their sleeping they demonstrated the trust I want you to have, the ability to rest even when circumstances seem dire, because you know that I am watching over you. As I prayed that night, sweat like drops of blood falling from my brow, I was not just wrestling with my own upcoming suffering. I was taking into myself every moment of human anguish that would ever exist. I was absorbing every sleepless night, every anxious thought, every physical pain that keeps bodies awake when they long for rest. The garden became a place where divine love met human suffering and transformed it into something redemptive. Father, I prayed, and in that word was contained every cry for help that would ever arise from human lips. Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. I was not just speaking of the crucifixion that awaited me with the dawn. I was speaking of the cup of all human suffering, including yours, beloved child. I was asking if there might be another way to heal the deep wounds in human hearts, another path to bring peace to restless souls, another method to restore the connection between earth and heaven that had been broken by fear and separation. But even as I asked for another way, I surrendered to the Father's will with the words that have echoed through eternity. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. In that surrender, I was modeling for you the secret of true peace, the rest that comes not from having all your problems solved, but from trusting that every difficulty in your life is being woven into a tapestry of love that extends beyond your ability to see or understand. An angel came to strengthen me in that garden, a messenger of divine comfort that reminded me of truths that suffering can sometimes obscure. This same angelic presence is available to you in your sleepless nights, beloved, when you feel most alone, when rest seems impossible, when anxiety builds walls around your heart. Heavenly comfort is being dispatched to your side. The olive trees in Gethsemane had witnessed centuries of human drama. They had provided shade for countless prayers, shelter for numerous tears, silent companionship for generations of souls seeking divine connection. Their roots ran deep into soil, enriched by the sorrows and joys of pilgrims who had come seeking what you seek now: peace that surpasses understanding, rest that comes from complete trust in divine love. As I rose from prayer that night, my face set like flint toward the suffering that awaited. I carried within my heart every person who would ever struggle with sleep, every soul who would ever lie awake feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges. I went to the cross carrying your insomnia, your anxiety, your physical discomfort, your racing thoughts. I took all of it into my own body so that you could learn to rest in the knowledge that you are not alone in your struggles. The pressing that happened in Gethsemane, both the crushing of olives and the crushing weight of impending sacrifice, produced something precious and healing. Olive oil was used for anointing, for healing, for providing light in darkness. Your own pressing, dear one, your sleepless nights and worried days, they too are producing something precious. They are creating in you a deeper capacity for compassion, a greater appreciation for peace when it comes, a more profound understanding of your need for divine grace. In that garden, I learned something about suffering that I want to share with you as you lie in your own place of pressing. Pain that is offered to love, struggle that is surrendered to divine purpose, sleeplessness that is entrusted to heavenly care. All of these become transformed into instruments of healing, not just for yourself, but for others who will face similar challenges. Your bedroom, in these quiet hours, can become your Gethsemane, not a place of agony, but a place of surrender, where you learn to say with me, "Not my will, but yours be done." When you stop fighting your sleeplessness and instead offer it as a prayer, when you cease struggling against your anxiety and instead surrender it to my care, something miraculous begins to happen. The very thing that has been your torment becomes a pathway to deeper intimacy with divine love. The garden teaches us that some of our most profound spiritual growth happens in darkness, in difficulty, in moments when we feel pressed beyond our ability to endure. But just as olive oil emerges from crushing, just as dawn always follows the darkest hour, your struggles are producing something beautiful that you may not yet be able to see. Rest now in this truth, beloved. Let your body settle deeper into comfort, knowing that your sleepless nights have not been wasted, your anxious thoughts have not been ignored, your physical discomfort has not gone unnoticed. All of it was carried by me in that garden long ago, transformed by love into healing balm for your soul. The olive trees of Gethsemane still stand today, their ancient roots holding secrets of surrender, their silver leaves whispering stories of love that conquers fear. In your own garden of struggle, may you find the same peace I discovered through surrender, not the peace of having no problems, but the peace of knowing that every problem has been transformed by love into an opportunity for grace. Feel the weight of worry lifting from your chest now, as if strong hands were removing heavy stones from your heart. In this garden of divine love, peace grows naturally, like flowers blooming in soil watered by tears of trust. There was another day when the disciples and I crossed the Sea of Galilee, and I chose to rest in the stern of the boat with my head on a cushion. The gentle rocking of the vessel, the rhythmic sound of water against the hull, the warm sun on my face, all of it created the perfect conditions for the kind of deep, peaceful sleep that I want to give you tonight. You might wonder how I, being divine, could need sleep. But in taking on human nature, I also took on human needs, the requirement for rest, the blessing of dreams, the sweet surrender that comes when consciousness releases its grip on the day's concerns and allows the body to restore itself. My sleep in that boat was not just rest. It was a demonstration of perfect trust, complete peace, total confidence in the Father's care. As I slept, a fierce storm arose, the kind that fishermen fear, with winds that whip the water into towering waves and rain that stings like needles against exposed skin. The boat that had been gently rocking began to pitch violently, taking on water with each massive wave that crashed over its sides. The disciples, many of them experienced fishermen who had weathered countless storms, found themselves genuinely afraid for their lives. And through it all, I slept. This wasn't the sleep of exhaustion or unconsciousness. This was the sleep of someone who knew with absolute certainty that no storm could ultimately harm those under divine protection. My rest in the midst of chaos was a living parable for every soul who would ever lie awake, wondering if their circumstances might overwhelm them. The disciples' amazement at my peaceful slumber in such dangerous conditions mirrors the wonder that angels feel when they observe human souls learning to rest in divine care despite the storms raging in their lives. Your ability to find peace in the midst of worry, to discover rest even when external circumstances seem chaotic, is actually a profound spiritual achievement that shouldn't be underestimated. "Teacher," they cried, shaking me awake with urgency, born of fear, "don't you care that we're about to drown?" Oh, how that question has echoed through the centuries in the hearts of everyone who has ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges. Don't you care that I can't sleep? Don't you care that anxiety is consuming my thoughts? Don't you care that my body aches with tension I can't release? I understand why they asked. When we're in the midst of a storm, whether it's a literal tempest on a lake or the figurative storms of insomnia, anxiety, or emotional turmoil, divine peace can seem like indifference. My rest could be misinterpreted as lack of concern rather than what it actually was: complete confidence in ultimate safety and divine control over all circumstances. Rising from my peaceful rest, I stood in the boat and spoke to the storm with the same gentle authority I use when speaking to your restless heart. Peace, be still. The words weren't shouted or declared with dramatic flair. They were spoken with the quiet confidence of one who knows that love is the fundamental force governing all existence, and that chaos is always temporary when divine will is applied. Immediately, not gradually, not eventually, but immediately, the wind ceased and the sea became completely calm. The Greek word used to describe this calm is megagalene, meaning great calm, profound stillness, the kind of peace that surpasses ordinary tranquility. This is the same quality of peace I want to breathe into your spirit right now as you listen to my voice. The disciples were amazed, asking each other, "Who is this, that even the wind and sea obey him?" But you already know who I am, beloved. You know that the same voice that commanded the storm to be still is speaking peace over your restless thoughts right now. You know that the same authority that calmed those ancient waters is available to calm the turbulent emotions that have been keeping you awake. What they witnessed that day was not magic or mere divine power flexing itself for impressive effect. It was love responding to need, peace asserting its ultimate authority over chaos, the natural order of the universe reasserting itself when divine will is clearly expressed. The storm didn't resist my command because storms, like all of creation, recognize the voice of their creator. Your insomnia, your anxiety, your physical discomfort, these two recognize the voice of divine love when it speaks with clear intention. Just as the wind and waves had no choice but to obey when I commanded stillness. The chaos in your mind and body must yield when you truly invite my peace to take authority over your circumstances. The cushion where I had been resting became a symbol of trust that would comfort countless souls throughout history. It represented the ability to find rest even when storms are brewing, peace even when circumstances seem dire, sleep even when the boat of life feels like it might be overwhelmed by the waves of worry. Tonight, as you listen to my voice, imagine that your bed is like that cushion in the stern of the boat. Feel how it supports you completely, how it provides the perfect place for rest even if storms of thought and emotion are raging around you. Know that I am in the boat with you, that my presence guarantees your ultimate safety, that my love has already spoken peace over every storm you will ever face. The disciples learned something important that day about the nature of divine care. My sleep during the storm wasn't indifference, it was confidence. My peace in chaos wasn't lack of concern, it was complete trust in the Father's protection. When you see me resting in the midst of your struggles, know that it's because I already know the end of the story, and it's beautiful. The calm that settled over the Sea of Galilee that day was so profound that it became legendary among fishermen for generations. They would point to that stretch of water and tell stories of supernatural peace, of chaos yielding to love, of rest being possible even in the most unlikely circumstances. Let that same supernatural calm settle over you now, beloved. Feel it, beginning in your heart and spreading outward like ripples on still water. Feel your breathing deepen and slow, your muscles release their tension, your thoughts grow quiet and peaceful. The storm is passing, the waves are calming, and perfect rest is coming to carry you safely through the night. Your breath becomes like gentle waves lapping at a peaceful shore. Each exhale releases more tension, each inhale draws in deeper peace. The storm is over, beloved. All is calm, all is well. There was a room where we gathered for our last supper together, a sacred space where I wanted to share the deepest truths of my heart with those I loved most. The upper room was simple, no elaborate decorations, no luxurious furnishings, just a quiet place set apart from the noise and busyness of the world below. Sometimes the most profound encounters with divine love happen in such ordinary spaces, transformed by presence rather than ornamented by wealth. As evening approached and we reclined around the low table, I felt the weight of all I wanted to communicate to my disciples before the events of the following days would separate us. But more than that, I felt the presence of every soul who would ever need comfort in the dark hours of night, including you, my beloved child, lying in your bed centuries later, longing for peace and rest. Let not your heart be troubled, I told them, and I speak those same words to you now. The troubles that keep you awake, the anxieties that make your mind race, the physical discomfort that prevents rest, I see them all, and I am not alarmed by any of them. What appears overwhelming to you is completely manageable from the perspective of divine love. I took bread in my hands that night, ordinary bread made from grain that had grown in ordinary fields under ordinary sunshine. But in my hands, this simple sustenance became something extraordinary, a symbol of divine life being offered to nourish not just bodies, but souls. As I broke the bread, I was thinking of how my love would soon be broken open to pour out healing for every wounded heart, rest for every weary spirit, peace for every anxious mind. This is my body, given for you, I said. And in those words was contained every sleepless night that would ever torment one of my children. I was offering myself as spiritual nourishment for souls starved of peace, divine rest for hearts that had forgotten how to be still, supernatural strength for bodies weakened by worry and exhaustion. The wine we shared was deep red, like the sunset that painted the sky beyond our window, like the lifeblood that courses through your veins as you listen to my voice. This is my blood poured out for many, I said, knowing that among those many was you, beloved, you with your struggles to sleep, your battles with anxiety, your longing for healing that seems to elude your grasp. In that upper room, I knelt before each disciple to wash their feet, performing the work of a servant despite being their Lord and teacher. Peter protested, as I knew he would, but I needed them and you to understand something crucial about divine love. It serves rather than demanding to be served. It gives rather than taking. It humbles itself to lift others up. As I washed their feet that night, I was washing away every barrier that might prevent them from receiving the full measure of my love. I was cleansing not just the dust of the roads they had walked, but the accumulated shame, guilt, and fear that can make souls feel unworthy of divine care. Tonight, as you rest in my presence, I am doing the same for you, washing away everything that might hinder you from receiving the perfect peace I long to give. The room filled with a presence that night that transcended the physical, a sense of holiness so profound that even the flickering oil lamps seemed to burn with supernatural light. This same presence is available to you now, in your room, in your bed, in the sacred space where you meet with me in the quiet hours. Divine love doesn't require special locations or elaborate rituals. It only requires an open heart and a willingness to receive. Peace I leave with you, I told my disciples as the evening deepened around us. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. The peace the world offers is fragile, dependent on circumstances, temporary and shallow. But the peace I offer is supernatural. It can exist in the midst of chaos. It deepens under pressure. It provides rest even when external conditions would normally prevent sleep. This peace I spoke of that night is not just the absence of conflict or worry. It's a positive force, an active presence that fills every space where fear used to reside. It's the kind of peace that can slow racing thoughts, relax tense muscles, quiet anxious hearts, and invite natural sleep to return to bodies that have forgotten how to rest. In that upper room, I also promised them and you that I would not leave them as orphans. I will come to you, I said, and that promise extends across centuries to this very moment. In your sleepless nights, in your anxious days, in your moments of feeling completely alone, I am coming to you, just as I promised. The disciples left that room changed, carrying within themselves not just the memory of our time together, but the actual presence of divine love that would sustain them through every trial ahead. Tonight, as you prepare to rest, you too are being changed by our communion together. Peace is taking root in your spirit, calm is settling into your nervous system, divine love is rewiring your capacity for trust and rest. The door to that upper room was ordinary, but what happened behind it was extraordinary. Your bedroom door is ordinary too, but tonight it encloses a space where heaven touches earth, where divine love meets human need, where supernatural peace overcomes natural anxiety. Rest now in the truth that was established in that sacred space centuries ago. You are loved, you are not alone, and perfect peace is your birthright as my beloved child. The last thing I did in that upper room was pray for my disciples, lifting them up to the Father's care and protection. Tonight, I pray for you with the same intensity and love, that peace would guard your heart and mind, that rest would come easily to your body, that divine love would surround you like a shield as you sleep. Feel the peace of that upper room, settling around you now like a soft blanket. Every worry is being lifted in prayer, every anxiety is being surrendered to divine care. In this sacred space of communion, perfect rest is being prepared for your soul. In the early morning darkness, when the world held its breath between night and day, I rose from death's temporary grip with you on my heart. The garden tomb that had held my body for 3 days became the birthplace of hope for every soul who would ever despair, the source of healing for every wounded heart, the wellspring of peace for every anxious mind, including yours, my beloved. Mary Magdalene came looking for me in that garden, her heart heavy with grief, her eyes swollen from weeping. She had loved me so deeply that even death could not convince her to stop seeking my presence. Like you in your sleepless nights, she refused to give up hope that somehow, somewhere, she might find the peace her soul desperately needed. When she saw the empty tomb, her first thought was that someone had taken my body away. Sometimes, beloved, when the miracle you've been praying for doesn't look like what you expected, you might think that hope itself has been stolen from you. Your sleepless nights might make you feel like rest has been taken away, that peace is missing from your life, that healing is nowhere to be found. But I was not gone, I was transformed. I was not absent, I was present in a new and more wonderful way. Just as the dawn light was beginning to touch the garden with gold, I spoke her name, Mary. One word, spoken with infinite love, and her world changed completely. In that moment, she realized that what she thought was loss was actually the greatest victory ever achieved. Rabboni. She cried, recognizing not just my voice, but the love that made her feel fully known and completely cherished. This is how I speak your name too, dear one, in the quiet hours when you cannot sleep. Listen closely, and you will hear it whispered. On the wind that moves through your window, breathed in the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Spoken in the depths of your spirit, where my voice is always audible to those who have learnt to listen. The garden where I was buried and from which I emerged in resurrection power was filled with the fragrance of new life. Flowers that had seemed dead through the cold season were beginning to bloom. Trees that had appeared lifeless were showing the first signs of fresh growth. The earth itself was awakening from winter's sleep. This is what happens in your life too, when you truly encounter resurrection power. What seemed dead begins to bloom. What appeared hopeless starts to show signs of new possibility. Your struggles with sleep, your battles with anxiety, your physical discomfort, none of these are permanent defeats. They are winter seasons in your soul, temporary conditions that are even now giving way to the spring of divine healing. The same power that raised me from the dead is working in your life, bringing resurrection to areas that have felt lifeless, hope to situations that have seemed hopeless. I told Mary not to cling to me in my old form, because I was ascending to the Father to prepare something even more wonderful, a way for my presence to be with her always, not just in physical proximity, but in spiritual reality. This is why your sleepless nights can become sacred encounters, why your quiet hours can become times of deepest communion with divine love. I am not limited by physical presence anymore. I can be as close to you as your own breath, as near as your own heartbeat. The Garden of Resurrection teaches us that endings are often beginnings in disguise. That what looks like defeat can be the setup for the greatest victory. Your insomnia, which has felt like such a burden, is actually creating space in your life for encounters with divine love that might not happen any other way. In the stillness of sleepless nights, you can hear my voice more clearly than in the busy noise of daylight hours. As the sun rose fully that first Easter morning, painting the garden with colors too beautiful for earthly pigments, I appeared to other disciples who were walking the road to Emmaus. They didn't recognize me at first, but their hearts burned within them as I spoke. This is happening to you right now. As my words reach your spirit, something is burning away your anxiety, melting your tension, warming your heart with divine love. The Resurrection Garden became a place where the impossible became possible, where death was swallowed up in victory, where love proved stronger than every force that opposes it. Your bedroom, in these quiet hours, can become such a garden, a place where the impossible peace you've been seeking becomes possible, where the sleep that has eluded you is finally achieved, where love conquers every fear that has been keeping you awake. In that garden, I conquered not just death, but every form of suffering that would ever afflict those I love. I rose victorious over anxiety, triumphant over insomnia, powerful over every physical ailment that steals rest from weary. But the resurrection was not just about me overcoming the grave. It was about providing healing and wholeness for everyone who would ever need it, including you, right now, tonight. Feel the resurrection power working in your body now, beloved. Feel life flowing into tired muscles, peace settling into anxious thoughts, divine love surrounding every cell of your being with healing presence. What seemed dead in you is coming back to life. What felt broken is being made whole. What appeared lost is being found again in the garden of my endless love for you. The garden grows quiet now in the gentle light of resurrection dawn. Peace blooms like flowers in your heart. Rest spreads like morning dew over your spirit. All is well, beloved. All is made new. And so, my beloved child, we come to the end of our journey together tonight, though it is not really an ending, but a beginning. Every story I have shared with you, from the Garden of First Light, where you were lovingly crafted, through the stormy seas, where impossible peace was demonstrated, to the Resurrection Garden, where death itself bowed to love. All of these are invitations for you to experience the same miraculous care in your own life. Your sleepless nights need not be prisons of worry and exhaustion. They can become sanctuaries where you meet with divine love in the quiet hours when the world sleeps. Your anxiety need not be a master that controls your thoughts and steals your peace. It can become a teacher that drives you deeper into trust, closer to the heart of one who loves you beyond measure. As you close your eyes now, carry with you the certainty that you are not alone. The same love that spoke stars into existence speaks peace over your restless heart. The same power that calmed ancient storms calms the turbulence in your mind. The same presence that walked with disciples walks with you through every sleepless hour. Every anxious moment, every time you feel overwhelmed by life's challenges. Rest now, beloved. Let your breathing slow, your muscles relax, your thoughts grow quiet. Feel yourself supported not just by your bed, but by love itself. Drift into the peace that surpasses understanding, the rest that comes not from the absence of problems, but from the presence of perfect love. Sleep well, my precious child. I am watching over you, and all is well. Amen.